It's time for the MadDawg Show, coming to you from the heart of the Bulldog Nation. And now, here he is, the MadDawg.
A special Christmas edition of the MadDawg Show is back with legendary Tim Worley. What's up, Tim?
Guys, even back in years ago when we played, when I played, we walked, playoffs. Wasn't playoffs, just bowl games. Okay, so many bowl games now. You wanted to play somebody in another conference. You wanted to play a Big Ten school. You wanted to play a Pac-10 school. You wanted to play a Big 12 or well, back then Big 8 school. You didn't want to play nobody in the SEC. From Georgia, I don't want to play Florida in a bowl game. I don't want to play Mississippi State in a bowl game. Let's go outside and let's compare conferences and see who's the toughest. You know what I mean? So
Wasn't it like that
I'm
one
still
year?
listen. I'm still
Georgia.
trying to figure out. I'm still listen now. I'm like this right here. How in the heck does Alabama get to go to the Rose Bowl
I
and
know.
play Indiana?
Okay, and that brings me to that game. And my word for that game is jealousy. I'm jealous of the fact that they get to go and play in the Rose Bowl. And I'm jealous of Alabama because they get to play Indiana because I'm still not a believer in Indiana. And I think Alabama is going to beat them. And I think that was an easy draw. What do y'all think?
I agree with you, Mad Dog. I've again, I'm not an Alabama guy. My son-in-law, like I told y'all, a huge Alabama guy. I know I didn't get to talk to y'all last week, but the pure joy that I enjoyed during the SEC championship game was unlike anything. I just I enjoyed it. But watching Alabama get who they got, Oklahoma, and everybody had wrote them off. Everybody was picking Oklahoma to beat them, and I'm like, what has Oklahoma showed y'all other than a good defense? That and if you go look at the first game, Alabama turned the ball over 3 times. That's what beat them. Oklahoma didn't beat them. So I'm like, Alabama's going to beat them, and then they get to play Indiana, and I'm like, Indiana again. I don't want to sound like I'm down on teams. I don't think Ohio State's that good. So Indiana beating them, that didn't surprise me. Like I wasn't like, okay, yeah, and it was a close game, and Ohio State had every opportunity to win that game, and they didn't. So I think Alabama, to me, I think there's a difference of the conferences. The SEC is a physical conference, and I think they're going to go out and show Indiana why they're the more physical team.
Yep. I also, I'm not a Bama guy either, but I got to give them respect. I have mad respect for Bama because they know how to play, they know how to come back, and they were the standard for a lot of years, and now it's flipped a little bit. But I always tell people, man, even though I'm not a Bama guy, I always tell people, listen, Bama is Alabama. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't care how many games they lost. I don't care what they look like at the moment. Bama is Bama. Okay. And I'm with you, Lance. I'm with you, Mad Dog. I believe Alabama is going to go to the Rose Bowl, and I believe they're going to whoop Indiana.
And
I
here's
believe.
here's a here's another factor, and they even talked about this a little bit in the Alabama Oklahoma game. Ty Simpson has an axe to grind with Mendoza. Not anything personal, but he just said, he sees him and he saw him win the Heisman, and he knew for a minute there he was in that conversation. And then he had some bad games, and all of a sudden he wasn't in the conversation anymore. And he feels like that could have been him. And I think he's got something to prove with his arm, and he wants to show the world I'm as good or better than that guy that won the Heisman.
Well,
I think
I
the
think
difference. I think the difference that we saw in the Oklahoma game against Bama, Bama's running game was kind of turned up a little bit. It was much better than the past couple of games that they played before they got to that game because we shut them down. We had a negative what 3 yards,
three.
okay, and the running game really peaks up. A lot of times, guys, when you have 100 plus 100 right at 100 between 90 and 120 yards a game from the backfield, 9 times out of 10 you're going to win that game.
Well, the Bama game flipped. It goes to show you that football game is a game of momentum because in the first quarter, Alabama could not block Oklahoma to save their life. Ty Simpson was on the run. They blocked that punt, they get that touchdown, and then it's just like Alabama's are all Americans now. That defensive line couldn't do anything, and
It was
I think
weird.
it was very weird. But it goes to show that like Alabama getting Josh Cuevas back was huge, and I think him getting that extra week of rest will be because he's a big weapon for Ty Simpson. Also, everybody keeps talking about Ryan Williams. And I'm like, okay, he had a great freshman campaign, but he is a liability for that offense now. You've got that freshman Nazir Brooks that I guarantee you is making less money than Ryan Williams, and he's making plays. That touchdown that he made was all 100% effort. And to me, if I'm a coach, I'm like, I'm riding with that guy. He wants it. And so I think Alabama, to me, has the better offense. The other part that I think that people are not realizing – the game record that Indiana had, number 8, I can't think of what his name, the defensive tackle. He's done. He blew out his knee celebrating winning the Big Ten championship. And if you go back and watch that game, he was the one stopping the run. He was the one, getting after Julian saying. So I again, football is played on the field, and we could be totally way off, but if you're asking me to who you running behind, or if you put something on the line, I'm going with Alabama. I'm going with the team that, to me, has had it tougher. You look at the teams that they've played and what they've gone through to get to where they are. That to me at some point accounts for something. I mean, they've gone through the injuries that other teams don't survive, and they're thriving now. And they're starting to get guys back.
Well, guys, it's like this right here. This old saying is chess, not checkers, right? Yeah. And I say that because coaches are earning their money now. Yeah. These coaches are forced to earn their money now. The big pay, these assistant coaches and coordinators, even the head coach, all this money they're getting now, they're earning it because what you saw against Bama in Oklahoma was adjustments from the coaches of what they saw in the first and second quarter. They came out and made adjustments, and Bama prospered from it on both sides of the ball. Oklahoma couldn't do nothing with them the second half. Okay? And so you got to give it up. Yeah, you got to give it up, man. The coaches are making those adjustments. And so I give it up. I give it up, man, to those coaches that are able to do that.
I knew Oklahoma was in trouble when they showed Brent Venables and his Oklahoma uniform had a basketball on it. I was like, brother, y'all.
Yes, that was weird. Like, why are you repping Air Jordan in a football game? I know they buy Nike apparel, but that was just odd.
Was Coach Venables and DeBoer lost that birth? They look like they could be brothers.
They definitely did. But to Tim's point, when you talk about adjustments, Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, made some huge adjustments. The interception before halftime, man, he had John Mateer so confused on that play. I mean, John Mateer looked like he was throwing the ball right to Zabian Brown. I mean, Zabian Brown's just standing there and catches it. So, I mean, it was a game of adjustments, and like Tim said, Bama made them, Oklahoma didn't, and there were some plays that Oklahoma had to have, and I try to think about it as a coach, and I'll defer to you here, Tim, as a football player. On the play that John Mateer's 3rd and 5, and you've got your running back streaking, but you also have a straight line for the first down. I know you want to throw that pass, but does it not behoove you to go get the first down and to live to play another down?
Yeah. I would have ran that, but it just goes to show you how shook Bama defense had him in that second half. Okay. And, a lot of times quarterbacks and even skill guys, they want to go for the big one, and then again, he might have didn't see the guy streaking up the sideline. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I just respect and appreciate when coaches can come in and make adjustments, and that's what I respect about Georgia. They're making adjustments before they get to halftime. You got those guys upstairs looking down with the binoculars, and they're seeing this and they're seeing that. I'm like, man, you gotta appreciate that. That's where the professionalism comes in. That's where the set apart comes in of guys that you can legitimately call a coach.
Yeah. Well, it's like we talked about. NIL is forcing coaches to have to coach.
That's right.
NIL in the portal.
That's right. Man, I saw so many kids in the portal today. They're making it an announcement on social media. You know, North Carolina Tar Heels, their quarterback is in the portal.
They just
And he's
hired Bobby
good.
Petrino. They just hired Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator.
Wow. I saw that. I saw they were working on that.
You got Bill Belichick and Bobby Petrino together.
Hey,
Listen,
it might work.
They
It
ain't
might
fired
work.
Belichick yet.
Nope.
It
Oh,
might
that's
work,
crazy.
or they might be the next coach you see get fired for messing with young co-eds. That's
my
what
goodness.
happen.
Oh,
Hey
well,
guys, let me ask you
Belichick's
guys this.
basically already doing it.
And let me flip it for a second. You know, the way things are looking now, could there possibly be a chance if things go the way we want them to, and that's for Georgia, and that's win, 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 baby? Could there be a chance that we meet the Crimson Tide for the Natty again?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely, there
Wow.
could.
If you want to talk about how people would hate college football, let
Oh,
Georgia
my
and Alabama
goodness.
play for the national championship. People would, I mean, they would hate it. But
But
You know
at the
that's what's
same
gonna happen,
time,
right?
they probably have bigger ratings than they've ever had.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, one more thing about Bama. Jam Miller, who was back, he's going to be even healthier when they play Indiana. And Jam Miller they're going to use that run to set up the pass. And Ty Simpson is going to carve Indiana up. All right. The U versus the Ohio State. My key word in this one is Beck, because I think he's going to determine the outcome of this game, good or bad. And I don't see Beck being able to carve up the Ohio State defensive backfield.
No, I again, Carson Beck is. If you look at his stats on Saturday, he threw for 110 yards. His one touchdown was a pop pass. Carson Beck. There was nothing that, to me, he didn't lose in the game, but he definitely, for all the emphasis that's put on him to be this quarterback, when he got to Miami at the beginning of the year, the whole narrative was Georgia really missed a huge opportunity, or they ran him off and he was going to, and after game one, he's like, I'm enjoying football again. Like, okay, whatever. There's nothing that he's done to me. What was it? Was it Bill Parcells? Who was it that says they are who we thought they were? That's who Carson.
That was the Vikings coach.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Carson Beck to me is who you thought he is. When he's got a great supporting cast, he's a great quarterback. But when Carson Beck has to be the dude, he's not the dude. And the game is going to be intriguing, because I think this game is two defenses that are great. Miami's defensive ends, probably the best in the country. They're the best that I've seen. And Ohio State with Caleb Downs and Matt Patricia, great defense too. So offense might be at a premium here, and it might come down to who has the ball last, or who can kick a field goal.
Now, you remember, guys, 2005, Miami and Ohio State played for the national championship. Maurice Correct, what is that? Is that his name?
Yeah.
And all those guys. And I think, what was the running back from Miami?
McGahee.
Played for Buffalo for a minute.
Willis McGahee. It was McGahee.
Willis McGahee. Yeah, I think that's when he blew his knee out, right? So we got to repeat
that terrible pass interference call.
Yeah, we got to repeat there. But I think overall, the Buckeyes have the edge because I think the Ohio State's defense is a little bit better than Miami's offense. I think, and a little bit more physical. I think so.
What about Ohio State's receivers? I mean, those guys are legit.
True.
Like, they could be in the pros right now. And I don't know much about Miami's defensive backfield. And the fact that I don't know much about their defensive backfield means they're not hyping them because they're not special. And you better be special if you're going up against those receivers. And those receivers are special.
So they got Zero Scott back. He was an Auburn transfer. He's very physical. They had the freshman safety that had 2 interceptions in that game. And so, I mean, again, Miami is a very physical team, and they tackle really well as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in order to get the ball to these receivers, you got to have time. And
Yep.
I don't think that Ohio State's offensive line is going to have the time. Offensively, just from what I've seen, Miami has the better offensive line as far as with Maui Noah and all that. Now, the thing that impressed me about what Miami did that they haven't done all season is they ran the ball with Fletcher. Fletcher is a very good running back. If they run the ball and can stay to the run, I think they could have some success. Tony, number 10, he's a special talent. You find any way you can. He's like our version of Branch. You find ways to get him the ball and let him do stuff. But I think the thing that kills Miami, and I saw it a lot in the playoff games, you'd have two great plays, and then you come back with some stupid play call where you're running an end around or you're running something away and you're losing yards, and now you're off schedule and you're having to punt. So I think it's which team can move the ball downfield without trying to be fancy, I guess you could say would be the word, or revolutionary. Just play football.
Yeah. Miami's defense is one of the most physical defenses in college football now. And they got some great defensive linemen. They don't get a lot of publicity, but I watch those guys. You know, they're coached by Jason Taylor, former Hall of
Yep.
Famer. And I
Yep.
watch those guys work, man, in practice and just in a little stuff that I see on them. Those guys work together. And I think if they're going to have any success, that would be a big part of it because their D linemen work together. They know how to get off blocks. You know what I mean? They're quick, they're fast, and they gang tackle. Miami's very physical, so I think the physicality of the Buckeyes and the Hurricanes is going to be a perfect match. It should be a good game.
Yeah, I don't think saying the way you hurt Miami is the way that Texas A&M hurt them by having the mobile quarterback.
Yep.
Saying he might have a little mobility, but he's not Marcel Reed athletic. So if they can pin their ears, if they can't run, if Ohio State cannot run the ball, Miami can pin their ears back and they can cause some nightmares for Ohio State.
Well, they got a guy named Bo Jackson back there. I think he's a freshman.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
Yeah,
Bo Jackson. I was like, but what's his first name? They call him Bo. Bo is his nickname.
I always called him Bo Jackson.
Okay. You got to carry your weight, man. And you got a name like that.
Yeah,
That's a weight. If you're a running back and your name is Bo Jackson, you're carrying a weight.
The best. He's the best, bro.
They definitely, like MadDawg said, they definitely have the advantage when it comes to receiver. You know, I know Jeremiah Smith gets all the publicity, but Carnell Tate, he's just as good. Ohio State throws to their tight ends as well, so they've got some nice tight ends too. But I when it comes to the offensive line, I don't know that Ohio State has the guys that can match up with Miami's defensive line, because the defensive ends, Messidor and Bain, they are havoc causers.
Yes.
Then you got big 99 in the middle that requires a double team, and when you double team him, that means you're going one-on-one with one of these ends if you're not chipping them with a tight end.
Right. And if you look at it, guys, I watched the inside little film that I saw on them. I was on ESPN. Those kids are smart, and they're coached by an expert, an ex Hall of Famer defensive end, Jason Taylor, man, and they're well coached and they know the game. Their football IQ is very high. Every defensive lineman. And that's why those guys, they know where to be. They know the angles, and it's great to see that kind of players that understand that.
What's the line in that game?
It wasn't big. I think it might be what Georgia's was, like 6.5.
Which game was it that was only like 1.5?
That's probably
Oregon.
Let me see. It might be.
I think it's the Oregon. There's one thing I noticed that's another flaw in the playoff system, and whoever comes out of the Georgia Rebels game, which I hope is us, to play the winner of the U versus the Ohio State, that team's going to have a day less to prepare and recover. Did you know that?
9.5. Ohio State's almost a 10-point favorite. How?
Wow.
How?
Yeah. I think it's those DBs. I think it's those DBs in Miami. I think they think Saban's going to carve them up.
And you're right, Mad Dog. Oregon, Texas Tech 1.5, and Georgia, and Alabama and Indiana and Ole Miss 6.5.
But what do y'all think about the fact that the playoff sets it up? Instead of 2 games on one day, they stagger it so that one team has one less day. I mean, that's a big deal when you're talking about 1 week to get ready for a semifinal game.
Yeah, I'm a big component of the schedule needs to be the same for everybody. Like
Right.
because you think about it, Alabama gets an extra week, or extra day, or extra 2 days of practice going into whoever are playing Indiana. Indiana finds out Friday night who they're playing, and Alabama gets that extra rest. Same way with Ole Miss and Georgia. Ole Miss plays on Saturday, and then they play Thursday night or Wednesday night whenever they're the last game of the day, and then you turn around and you're going the following week. So I think you just need to have a set schedule, instead of trying to get the ratings. That's I found that out firsthand coaching baseball when we played a championship game on Saturday night and then had to turn around and play again World Series championship at 12. I'm like, why are we not? We're the only game that day. Why are we not playing later in the day? Well, this is what ESPN wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim,
Yo,
let me ask you something, Tim.
yes, sir.
So Georgia gets done, let's say around midnight on New Year's Day. Will Kirby throw them in an airplane to get on back to Athens rather than having them in a hotel where they could get into trouble on Bourbon Street and just say sleep on the plane and take naps during the day and
Okay.
that day's
Um,
recovery?
are you talking about the week before the game, or
I'm talking about after the Sugar Bowl.
okay? Say
It's
say if we win, right?
let's say we win. It's
Okay.
midnight. They're doing press conferences. They're hooping and holler in the locker room. Are they gonna let them hoop and holler and that party move on out to Bourbon Street or to the team hotel, or is he gonna say everybody get on the plane, we're out?
Well, considering what happened down there last year, you want to take safety precautions, and I would want to get on the plane either that night or early that morning and get on back. I
Yep,
would advise the kids and the coaches, the kids, the people in the family, don't be hanging out here. We know what happened last year, you know.
yep,
Um, and then after that game, what do you got? You got a week left before you play the next game.
yep.
Yep.
But
You would think,
you got 1 day less than the guys who played the night before.
okay, you would think they want to get the kids back and the coaches back to the campus and chill out and let's go to work. You
That's what
know,
I think.
yeah, man. Because
And think
both.
about this. Think about this, guys. You're in New Orleans, right? You got to fly back east, back to Athens, and get ready to fly all the way back west to Arizona. That's a lot of flying in a week's time
It
for
is.
for anybody, much less for young guys. And
And
okay, that leads me to my next Tim Worley question. Okay, so that game, the Fiesta Bowl, 8 o'clock kick. You travel out there, you gain 2 hours. If I'm Kirby, I'm doing the exact same thing I always do for a home game. I'm like, guys, we're going to do our Friday routine. You're going to sleep like late. You're going to sleep to where you would normally sleep and get up and have your meal at whatever, 8 o'clock. And then we're getting on an airplane and we're flying 4 hours out there and we're going straight to the stadium. Not even mess with a hotel.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I mean, that's just an idea I had. What would you do? What would Coach Worley do?
well, I'll say it like this: even during regular season games, when we would go out of town, say if we would go to Florida, say if we would go to, I don't know, Nashville or whatever, 9 times out of 10, when we got off the plane at the airport and got on that bus, we went straight to the stadium.
Right,
Okay,
right.
we went
Yeah,
straight to the state because number one, you gotta consider traffic. You go, and we got through that because of the escorts. You got to consider a lot of things and where you are and the time. You're fighting for time. So let's go to the stadium. Let's go walk out on the field. Okay, let's see where you're gonna go to battle tomorrow. Let's go in the locker room. Make sure you got all your stuff in there. Just get that feel, and then you come together either in the locker room or on the field, and the coaches will say something. You talk, you know. Then guess what? Now I can breathe. Let's go on back to the hotel, eat some food, and get some rest.
Okay.
So that's what you want to do first. Because
Okay.
if you listen, considering how they're moving around, you fly out there from a 4.5 hour flight, and you're 2 or 3 hours difference, and you go straight to the hotel, and those kids get a taste of laying on that big old king bed that in the hotels, man, you're gonna
Well,
be
see,
lazy.
that's I guess my question is, do you fly out the night before, or do you just fly because it's an 8 o'clock game where you gain 2 hours? Do you just fly out the day of the game and go straight to the field, check it out like everything you were saying, and just you never leave the stadium? You just go ahead and you get prepared right there.
I try to give myself at least put it this way. I'll give you an example. When in the NFL, when we used to play, when we played Denver, okay. And if you've never been, and I tell players, if you never played ball in that altitude, you're in for a treat, okay? Because it's just way above sea level. And so, because of the air, and if you're not used to that, it can affect you. And I was like, it ain't gonna affect me. I ain't gonna need no oxygen tank. First series, I'm on the sideline, But isn't it crazy? But here's the thing every once in a while, not all the time, we would go out on a Friday instead of a Saturday. But most of the time, when I played Denver, we went out the day before. And then there was a time where we went out 2 days before just to get used to the air. And I think I did that twice in my NFL career. So really you only need a day. But at the same time, you're looking at time, you're looking at the time difference, time zone. So there's going to be some jet lag. How do you get rid of the jet lag? You don't go straight to the hotel. Go to the field and walk around.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah,
like to avoid the jet lag, you take the night out of it. You fly the day of and you go, guys, we're not even getting off Georgia time. This game's at 8. Not for us. This game's at 10 o'clock. We're playing a night game, just like in high school almost. And
yeah.
we're gonna stay up late, and when we get done, we're gonna do what we do, whether they stay or whether they go. But if you go day of, you take the whole jet lag out of it. You keep the clock the same.
I
I
think
think,
that's kind of tough. I don't.
yeah,
I don't think Coach Smart would do that the day of because you're looking at a lot of uh, pieces of the puzzle trying to come together when they make these trips. You have no, and Dave, when they make these trips, all the things that are involved. Plus, number one, the equipment. You got to think
Yep.
about the equipment, all the
Yep.
equipment, even like bowl games. Okay, when we played bowl games, you went to that city and you stayed a whole week. Okay, and so guess what? They brought a lot of the weights and all the stuff that we needed that week. And you got guys traveling on the road for days, bringing you stuff, especially if you got to go to the West Coast. So there's a lot of pieces, a lot of pieces of the body that's working. And they're considering all that, man.
well, I think it's hard too because when you do these bowl games, they do these events. So as players, you have to be out there early to participate in the events and the media days and stuff like that. But I agree with MadDawg. If I'm a coach, I want to eliminate any distraction or eliminate anything I can of getting us out of rhythm. But
Right.
it's just kind of hard. It's kind of hard
Well,
when, in this new era of football.
you guys just answered my question. Due to equipment concerns and due to media, you got to pretty much be out there almost when they tell you to be there because it's probably a contractual requirement of Gunnar Stockton needs to be here for this press conference at
Mm-hmm.
Friday at 6. And oh,
Yep.
by the way, bring Zachariah Branch and CJ Allen and Brent Thorson because he's just funny. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's got to be available for the media.
Yep.
And player schedule, we don't care.
You know what, guys? There's an old saying, and this kind of came up several years ago. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, especially when it comes to this time of the year and fighting for the nat, to get to the natty. Um, Coach Smart's got to enforce in his guys, his coaches and the players and their families. Listen, when we go out to these places and compete now, let the main thing be the main thing.
Yeah.
We're going to win. We come here to win. We're not coming here to play around. We're not coming here to see sights and this and that. We're coming to play football. We're coming to win a championship. So let the main thing be the main thing.
The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
That's right. That's right.
I think,
and if you detour from that, that's on you. You can't detour from that. A lot of times in these bowl games, man, I listen, I know how it used to be back in the day. Listen, I went to the Sun Bowl my freshman year, and I only went to 2 bowls, and then I went to the Gator Bowl my junior year, and behind the scene, I think I'm gonna keep that to myself. We have to be on camera before I can tell you anything about that.
Well, I think a huge advantage that Georgia has this year is the hardships that they went through last year. With the terrorist attack, what happened with Kirby's dad, Gunner. They've been through a lot. And they're going back, like MadDawg said earlier, to right the wrong of last year. And knowing what I know about Kirby, that'll be far from his message about righting any kind of wrong or revenge. It'll be about the here and the now. But as much as this is a different team than Georgia teams of past, the way that they're playing ball right now gives you confidence that no matter what happens, we can win a close ball game. We can win, a blowout. We can, win being down, or we can win a tight game. We've proven that we can win in several different ways, and we have the talent and the athletes and the coaching, to weather any kind of storm. And regardless of what people say, Ole Miss is a very talented team.
Oh, yeah.
But now you take Pete Golding, and now you're the head coach. So, yes, you're still calling defense, but you've got all these other responsibilities. And regardless of what they say, you can have Charlie Weiss back, you can have Joe Cox, you can have all these guys back. Once your run is done, they're leaving. They're not staying. So there's not a lot of trust, in my opinion, a lot of trust and camaraderie there, because guys are bouncing as soon as it's over. So
yeah, that's a weird vibe. Like, I mean, they left and then they came back and then they're about to leave again. That's odd. And by the way, is that Joe Cox? Our Joe Cox?
Yeah, tight end coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, you can tell the way, if you watched all the Tulane game, you can tell the vibe was different. It wasn't the same as when Coach Kiffin was there. It wasn't.
Well,
that wasn't the same Ole Miss team.
And they were looser.
And the thing too that will get talked about as the week goes on, and Tim knows this as a running back, they're trying to say that Kyron Lacey has a bruised shoulder. If you watch the way Kyron Lacey went down with that arm extended, that's not a bruised shoulder. That's a
separated shoulder.
That's separated,
separated rotator cuff, and I know people say, well, it's just one player. Well, yeah, he's a really great running back, but also, if you saw what happened when Trinidad went out and they brought Austin Simmons in and Lacey was out, and they brought 22 in there to pass block, and he got blown up and let the quarterback get sacked, fumble, and that ended your drive. Pass blocking is a huge thing too. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they try to attack Georgia, defensively, because Ellis Robinson and Everett and DeMello Jones, those guys are playing phenomenal ball now, and where the only place that I think Georgia is vulnerable, in my opinion, is at the safety spot opposite of KJ Bolden. That's it.
Let me ask you this, and I know you'll probably know this. The guy who backs up Lacey, he was a portal guy, and he looked good.
Number 22 from Notre Dame. Yeah. I can't remember what his name is, but he was the guy that I was talking about. He ran the ball well, but when they needed him in pass protection, right before halftime, he was a guy that got blown up, missed the block, and then allowed Simmons to get sacked and fumble and end the drive. But he can run the ball well. He's from Notre Dame, is where he transferred from. But Ole Miss has a great quarterback. Trinidad's a great quarterback. I think they still have Caden Lee. He's a really good receiver. Their tight end, they've got a big tight end as well. So they can do some stuff offensively, but defensively, in my opinion, they're still not what you need them to be on defense to be that team that can lead you to win it all. Like, again, they can beat Georgia. I'm not saying we can't be beat. This is a shoe-in, put us in the next round. We're going to have to play the game. But even if Ole Miss were to beat us, they, just my personal opinion, they don't have the defense to carry them to a national championship. And win it.
I agree.
We cannot play Ole Miss like we played them in Athens. Can't do it. They went down 4 or 5 straight times and scored. Okay, we can't do that again. And I just believe that we've hit our stride. I believe that we're peaking right now. We're right where we need to be. And at the same time, I'm the type of person, I don't like too many weeks off. Once I'm in a groove, I want to stay there. I want, you know what I mean? And so you got to get the kinks out. Ole Miss is going to be ready to go. And that starting running back, let me tell you something. Separated shoulder, you shoot that thing up. I played the whole 1994 year with a grade 2 separated shoulder. Got a cortisone shot every single game, 16 games straight. Okay?
Wow.
And played. And I'm paying for it dearly right now.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why you see me doing this.
Yeah.
I fully expect Lacey to play. I do, but even if he don't, it to me it doesn't matter. The game, the advantage that Georgia has is to me is going to be on the sidelines and in that box. They have a team of to my knowledge, I haven't seen any rumblings of any coaches leaving. The only one that would be any bit of concern to me would be T-Rob going with Muschamp to Texas. But I think Georgia's working on a raise for him, and we'll see. But I think that's the advantage that you have. And what I heard somebody say it last week, and they talked about Muschamp as going to Texas, and they said, "Well, cool, he can go to Texas, but the chef is still the chef, and the chef's in Athens, and his name's Kirby Smart." So as long as Kirby is leading the ship in Athens, that you'll never see me worry about recruiting. You'll never see me worry about preparation of what team's going to be put on the field. Because to me, I said it 2 years ago. I was like, man, this is probably Kirby's best coaching job. This year, to me, is probably Kirby's best coaching job with how we've started to where we're at now.
Hey guys, one more thing before we go. My battery's going down. Hey, listen, will Bobo be back in the lineup? No,
he's done.
Okay, he's done. Okay, cool.
But the kid from Cartersville, Tolliver, did really good, man.
Tolliver did a great job. He did a great job against Alabama.
And if you can handle Tim Keenan for 4 quarters, I think you'll be fine with whatever Ole Miss has got.
Yeah.
I tell you what, guys, if I don't see you again, Tim, I'm going to see you because I got to hook up with you and give you that present. My mom got Tim a Christmas present. She loves him so much.
Yeah.
But, man, y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You guys do the same. Merry Christmas, man. And we're going to have a dynamite New Year, guys. Dynamite New Year.
We are indeed. All right. Well, until next time, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
The MadDawg Show is proudly sponsored by Alex Smith Garden Design, Griffin Lumber and Hardware, The Sanford Company, Sellers Construction, Bib Distributing, Butler Automotive, Pelicano Construction, The Dog Bone, Go Clean Co., Bacon Monogramming, Fincher's Barbecue, Bulldog Illustrated, Cranford Chiropractic, Walthall Oil,